Youth for One Korea. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Salsabila, your MC for today's webinar. I'm so honored to be here with all of you today as we dive into our important topic, building peace through environmental action. But before we begin, please make sure to give your full attention to the webinar. Mute your microphone when you are not talking. Keep your camera on. Use raise hand or chat to ask questions. And make this room a safe place to learn and share. Today, we will engage in insightful discussions with our esteemed speakers who will share their knowledge and experiences in how youth can contribute to peace through the lens of environmental action. So we invite you to open your hearts and minds as we learn from one another and explore how we can work together to build a more peaceful world. And now I want to give my warm welcome to the General Manager of Global Peace Foundation Indonesia, Mrs. Cynthia Rahmi Utami, and distinguished speakers who are joining us today. First, we have Jaya Setiawan Gulo, one of the Global Peace Leadership Corps Indonesia Fellows. And then we have Ingjin Bayastok as a Global Peace Foundation Mongolia volunteer and member of My Club Online Eco Community. And Rumi Twalia from Global Peace Leadership Corps. Last but not least, thank you to all of the university partners that already support this webinar. And now we want to invite everyone to listen to our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. You can sing along or just simply enjoy the moment as we honor our country. Thank you so much, everyone. Next, it is my pleasure to welcome our special guest, Mrs. Cynthia Rahmi Utami, as the General Manager of Global Peace Foundation Indonesia, who will give the opening remarks. We are very happy to have her with us today, so please join me in giving her a warm welcome as she shares her thoughts and officially starts our event.
Thank you, Salsa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Annyeonghaseyo, everyone. It is a great honor and joy for me on behalf of Global Peace Foundation Indonesia to welcome you all to this very special webinar, the fourth series of the Korean Dream webinar with the timely and inspiring theme, this time Youth for One Korea, building peace through environmental action. We are gathered here today not only because we believe in the vision of peace on the Korean Peninsula, but also because we believe in the power of young people to make the peace possible through environmental action, community engagement, and shared humanity. The division of Korea remains one of the world's longest unresolved conflicts. Yet, where diplomacy often reaches a standstill, nature offers a bridge. The environment connects us all, regardless of borders, ideologies, or even histories. This shared crisis we face, the climate change in Jakarta nowadays feels colder. It feels like in Bandung instead of Jakarta. Loss of biodiversity, natural disasters demand shared solution, and from those shared solutions, we can build trust and peace. And it is the youth, we, who are leading the way from reforestation in coastal villages in Indonesia to symbolic tree planting at North Korea, embassies in Mongolia, and to movements that cross cultures and continents. We are proving that peace is not only a diplomatic ambition, but a grassroots reality that begins with action. The Korean dream, as envisioned by our founder, Dr. Hyun Jin Min, is a vision of one family under God, a unified Korea rooted in moral values, mutual prosperity, and global responsibility. Environmental cooperation is one of the clearest and most powerful ways to live out that dream. Don't you think so? Before we begin, allow me to express my deepest gratitude to those who have made this webinar possible. To our incredible speakers from Indonesia, our Global Peace Leadership Core cohort, the second cohort I'm very proud of, Mongolia, and the global community. Thank you for sharing your stories and passion. We'll listen to Rumit Walia, my brother from India, who always advocate about this environmental and also link it to the peace. And also to our partners, to the organizing team, the organizing committee, whose dedication behind the scene that brought us together today. Our partners, organizing committee, university partners, your effort is truly appreciated because all of you all contribute your part, then we can make a bigger impact. And last but not least, of course, like Salsa, our intern, and also the all who work behind Nadia, Maria, the interns, the volunteers, many of whom are students and young leaders. Thank you for your heart, your time, and your belief in this cause. You remind us that leadership begins with service. Let this webinar be more than just a discussion. Let it be a call to action. Let it be a celebration of what we can achieve together for Korea, for the environment, and for our shared future. Thank you for being here, and let's walk together toward one dream, one Korea, one world, one family under God. Thank you. Back to you, Salsa.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cynthia, for the opening remarks. We really appreciate your commitment to promote peace and understanding in our community. And we are very grateful for your support today. So thank you once again. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for today's discussions, Nur Fahmi Asedik, who is part of the Global Peace Leadership Core Fellow. Beyond this role, Fahmi is also a passionate environmental advocate and the project leader of Youth for Energy Transition. With a background in biology from Universitas Indonesia, Fahmi combines scientific expertise with creative project management to lead impactful programs that empower communities and promote environmental awareness. Through his work, he continues to inspire action toward a more sustainable future. Today, he will be leading our discussions and interacting with our speakers and also participants. So let's give a warm welcome to Nur Fahmi Asedik.
Thank you, Salsa, for your warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really thrilled to have you today. My name is Nur Fahmi Asedik. You can call me Fahmi. For the next hour, I will guide these sessions as your moderators. So today is such a good day to gather and learn more about peace, Korean reunifications, and what we can do to contribute. Our discussion will be divided into three sessions uh, with three different speakers from different backgrounds. We are honored to have our outstanding speaker with us. Welcome on board, Jaya Setiawan Gulo, Ehsiman Bayarsov, and Rumit Walia. Without further ado, let's get started and learn together along the way. Don't worry, you will have your chance to ask questions in Q&A sessions after all presentations, or you can put your question in the chat box. So, for the first sessions, we will have Jaya Setiawan Gulo, or we can call him Gulo. Before that, I will give you a short explanation about him. So, Gulo is a storyteller, content creator, and adventurer, and he is a dedicated civil servant at Ministry of Finance of Indonesia and the founder of Academy Jadi PNS, an initiative empowering Indonesian youth through innovative education platform. Gulo has also led the creation of hundreds of talk shows featuring speakers from around the world. His work has earned him enormous national and international recognitions, and Gulo is a true inspiration for young change maker. So, hello, Gulo. Are
Halo,
you there?
Fahmi. Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
nice to meet you. So,
Nice to meet you,
yeah,
my
Mas
fellow.
Jaya will speak on this important topic of restoration for peace, youth-led environmental action in Indonesia. Right. Let's pay attention to give form to Mas Gulo, and times is yours, Mas Gulo.
Thank you so much, Fahmi, and thank you so much, Katia, and all the organizing teams and partners and young people and everyone here. Before we continue starting, I'm wondering where you guys are from here. If you're from Indonesia, please let us know in which Indonesia you're coming from. If you're not from Indonesia, please let us know. All right, some people have give commented here. Jakarta, Indonesia, Kenya, Jakarta, Bekasi. So this is not a national discussion, but it's a global one. I never imagined that I will be here in an international scope, but let's think, guys, something that we never imagined before can happen in the future. Even if we can imagine it more and more, it might possibly have, opportunity to happen in the next time. So I'm working for the government of the Ministry of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia. So I'm also love about storytelling because storytelling has a way to give influence for the people. And I love content creation here. So most of young people love to be a part-time content creator. So in the comments, I really want to know who loves to make contents, whether it's photos, carousels, or videos. Just let me know. All right. Yes, content creation. So in the future, we can collaborate together to create contents, something in the intersection between peace building and also environment. So my name is Jaya Setiawan Gulo, but I have content creation stage for the name. That's called Hello Gulo. And then I have a personal story why the environment somehow bridges peace building in my life. So when I talk about the environment back down in Nias, is in the western part of Indonesia. It's like a stone jumping. So most of the people are fishermen and also the farmers. Most of the farmers, they have coconut trees in their own field. But when I was very kid, it was very cold, but somehow years by years it's getting hotter, and most of the coconut trees they die, and people started thinking what kind of way they can harvest foods to eat, because the rest of the coconut trees will be sold to the market and also outside of the island of the Nias. And people start going to the sea by fishing all of the fish and stuff. And because of the rising temperature of the sea, most of the fish, they're not in the coastal areas of the islands. They go into deeper of the ocean. So it's very difficult for the fishermen to catch the fish just to eat, not to sell to the market or to the outside of the island. Imagine if you living in Bekasi, in Jakarta, or in the cities in your own country, you can do many things. You can do trade. But imagine if you were in a landlocked areas and you don't have many resources to eat, even to sell your resources. Imagine how difficult it is for the life of the young people, the women, and also the local communities. And because many the coconut trees died, people are struggling. And most of the young people like you and me prefer to leave the hometown, my hometown, to go to cities, the nearest cities in Medan, Bekasi, and Jakarta to earn money, to live their life personally, and also to help their family. That's very sad. This is the first one. And then the second thing is about peace. So Nias is very nearby in Aceh. So there is a local conflict in Aceh that happens. It's called the Aceh Free Movement. So they are going to find independence from Indonesia. So this movement is not completely supported by the local people, the Acehnese, but a part of the Aceh. And then something happened in 2004. The western part of Indonesia in the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami happened. It hits badly for Indonesia, Nias, and also Aceh. And the capital city of the Aceh province is Banda Aceh. Banda Aceh was completely destroyed. Nothing left. Only one mosque standing. It's Baitur Rahman Mosque. And some of the southern and also the eastern part of the Aceh, they were not completely destroyed. People were wondering at that moment. Why? Because there are a lot of trees. Most people in general know that they are just trees, but they are specifically called the mangroves. So what happened is like because some people were not affected badly at that moment, there's an awareness. Not many people know that mangroves can stop a little bit the streaming, the hard streams, the landlights of the tsunami, and now they became aware that they had to plan it anymore because to anticipate in the next time if something bad happen again like tsunami or earthquake, it can halt a little bit that they are not going to completely destroy the buildings and also kill many lives in the furthermore. And what happened at that moment? Because of the earthquake and also the tsunami happened, the economy, the geopolitics that happened before in Aceh, it dropped significantly. So what people thought at that moment is how they can restore the life of the people, restore the economy, restore the building, the education, how the kids can keep going to the schools. So whatever their background, their works, their religions, whether they support GAM or not, they want one thing. That's called peace. So all of the peoples, they come all together, they plant mangroves. That's why here at the end of this photo, planting mangroves united Acehnese is a very local story how peace can happen by planting mangroves, no matter your races, your tribes, or religions. This is how something that I see when I was a kid bring a peaceful thing in the local community. And then when in 2022, I was fully funded, invited by the United Nations FAO as a young reporter to report what was happening in Seoul, South Korea at Forest Conference. So I did reporting, live tweeting X right now, and also how to compile and craft the stories, the news in the conference to the global. And I was wondering that there are so many problems happening in Northern, Southern America, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia and the Pacific. All of people, all of nations came together to say what was happening. And many of them gave solutions from the grassroots for the young people, for the women, local communities. Even now, there's so many startups are fighting to fight the climate change and restore back the world. This is the moment that shocked me, and I think I'm working for the Ministry of Finance. I want to do something more than what I'm doing at my work. And then last July, thanks for introducing me, Katia. And also I have a fellow here, moderator with Fahmi. I attended this my very first time to join the Global Peace Leadership Corp Gen 2nd, 2025. The writing here 2025, but the background is 2024. Why? This year, we are the second batch. This is a connection. The photo behind is the first generation, and the writing here, the text, is the second generation. How we came together, the project that I'm going to mention in the next is a collaboration between us together. Why we come here, Restoration for Peace. When it comes to planting, growing trees, not just mangroves, I think we are going to unite people. So there is a quiet, unique model in the ministry, in the high level officials. We always say the term pentahelix model. What does it mean? It when government, the private sectors, the academia, the public, the communities, and the media come together to restore the earth by growing trees and beyond. Why there is beyond here? Because if we just planting the trees, we just leave them. But if we are going to grow the trees, it means that we keep monitoring and evaluating whether the trees or the mangroves alive or not, because the impacts is really long lasting. For example, like one mangrove can absorb tens or thousands kilograms of CO2, carbon dioxide, over 20 years. And me, as a government officer, I think I really want to mingle with people outside the government. Because right now, in many countries, and also Indonesia, many people blame the governments. The trust for the good governments are dropping year by year. I think it's not really time for me to bring the name of the institution, but me, as working for the institution, I think I want to have a point of view for the public that there's hope when we work directly with the government officer. And then the first project, it was 2 days ago, Sunday, July 20. So we started planting 200 mangroves. And it was my very first time, honestly, to plant mangroves. It is muddy, it is so hot, and it was so fun. And if you never guys here plant any trees or mangroves, please do it. And I bet you want to try the second one. And then this Saturday, it's going to be International Mangrove Day. So with all of the commitments until this discussion is happening right now, we have gathered support physically, materially, and everything, financially and psychologically, that we're going to plant 1,000 mangroves. That's in the same place. That's in Tangerang, Banten province in Indonesia. So if you're in Jabodetabek, Jakarta, Bekasi, or anywhere you are, we are very open and welcome you to join us here. No open recruitment, you just need to come and join us. You never plant mangroves, that's your very first time. And it's time for us to spam our Instagram stories, LinkedIn, our Instagram feeds, all of social medias that we plant and grow mangroves. It's our real action, how to fight for climate justice. What Kak Atia felt in Jakarta, I think it's time to act with Kak Tia, Fahmi, Salsa, and everyone here. We as the young people, we can fight for climate change, and also we can build the tolerance, the peace by restoring the earth and also restoring the peace. So this is a little bit why I talk about how in Tangerang, Jabodetabek, because the abrasion is happening. It's quite safe here in the middle of the city, but imagine, guys, in the next 1, 2, 5, or over the decades, it's not safe anymore because all of the sands, all of the lands in the islands are going to fade away meters by meters, and it's going to happen. And sometimes the government are very dizzy, confused how to stop the abrasion, and some financing, the funding, go to build the brick wall. It's almost a decade ago, but because of the academia, the lecturers, the advocates, the activists, and also the researchers gave a public policy to the government, I think we're going to combine it, you know, by planting all the mangroves in the outer side of the wall, and also we have the bricks. This is something that can influence people. That's through the public policy. That's one of how we can influence the government, because the government has the funding, they have the policy, and we as young people has the rights to give feedback and also critics to the government. And how you guys can join, we welcome everyone. Well, we know it starts in Indonesia, but imagine we can start it somewhere in Kenya, in the Philippines, and anywhere in the world. If you feel alone, you're not alone. There are us here that going to support you, whatever it is. So join us. So you can see at Jadi PNS Aja, so you can join us. What kind of things that you guys can join? Let's start from the national to the global restoration, peace movement, and we're going to have the academy and also content creation. We're going to learn more a lot. So, Angulo, let's imagine one nature, one earth, and also one peace. So let's grow a tree, grow peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gulo, for your presentations. What a wonderful material you share to everyone here. I believe everyone is very inspired about what you said. I'm really like when you align about what happened in Aceh 2004, and people suddenly realize how important creating some restoration that time to save some of the coastal communities. And also at the end, we believe this is the hardest part of activists. Yeah, how can be aligned with public policy, and you as a civil governance. Yeah, this is very important to share about this because most people doesn't believe in governance, for example, but you come here showing that there is a potential and possibility to let's give some public policy efforts. And yeah, at the end you very good show that grow tree, grow peace. Oh, that's very good. Thank you so much, Gulo, for your presentation. We appreciate your commitment to promoting peace, and we look forward for applying this idea to support Korean reunifications. Now, thank you so much once again for your sharing knowledge with us. Now, we are going to move to the second speaker for today, Ihsan Bayartov, a Global Peace Foundation's Mongolia volunteer and member of my club online eco communities. So I will tell about her. Ekman Bayarsov is a youth environmental advocate and science communicator for Ula Batar, Mongolia. She received the Top Student of the Year award from the president in 2024 for her work in environmental protections, and is a MYSP alumna and government scholarship recipient. Set to study in the Poland in 2026, Ekman has led National Science and Environmental Project, presented my clubbers at the Mongolia Forum 2025, and collaborate internationally with youth across Asia to promote sustainability and peace building. So today, Ekman Bayarsov will share us stories about Global Peace Foundation Mongolia planted a tree at the North Korea Embassy, Mongolia's role as a peace bridge with Northern Asia, and how symbolic actions promote trust and dialogue. Let's pay attention and give her a warm welcome. Hello, Ikran.
Hi. So I actually have a presentation. Can I share it?
Sure, go ahead. Time is yours.
Okay. I actually sent the presentation to the one of the corporators. Can she like share it? Because I can't.
All right, let's go. Okay, man, your presentation has been share screen.
Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Ingrid Bayersoft, and today I'm joining from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and it's my first time participating in this gathering. So I'm very honored to be able to speak my experiences. And let me begin my presentation by simply asking one question. So, what does tree planting has to do with the peace? Like, you guys can share your own opinions on the chat, but I try to answer it on my own. And at the first glance, obviously, it may seem like just simple environmental actions, but when we actually work together with the peoples that we never met or the people that doesn't know our language or culture, it becomes a great tool for peace building. And this is the very reason why I joined my clubbers. And into the next slide. So if I start by introducing my clubbers, it's the online community that has over like 70,000 people. And if we compare it to our population, it's a very great number. And I can say many people from different age groups and different ethnics joined us. And I would say it's one of the most active environmental protection clubs that is actively running in the Mongolia at the time. And our club is led by the professor at Mongolia University of Science and Technology named Sir Dharm. Okay. Next slide. And our club founded in 2006, and it's officially our 19th years celebration. And we have up to like 18 tree planting sites across the Ulaanbaatar, and we go there every single Sunday to plant the new trees and also to take care of the trees we have already planted. And we actually used to count how many plants we planted up until the 2023, but since then we lost the count. So we just now simply say we planted more than 2.5 million trees across the Mongolia. And as I mentioned before, our club has many members, and we learn to work together. We learn to be eco-responsibility, and we also receive certificates from the organizations, from the government for our participation. So I would say this club has helped to like younger generations to learn about the environment, and it also allowed them to like give real life, like real impact in the earth. And next slide. So in Mongolia, actually there is one very big moment called Billion Tree, and it's graded by the president. As you can see, the yellow parts that is shown in the map is actually desertified area. And if you know, Mongolia has the Gobi Desert, that is one of the very big deserts in the earth. And besides the rural areas, Mongolia doesn't have that much green environment in the big cities, such as Ulaanbaatar and Darkhan Irnet. So it's our goal to plant 1 billion tree by end of the year. And I would say it was very honorable to be able to participate in this moment with our teammates, with our peers. Okay, next slide. And our club run with the help of many like organizations, whether it's Mongolia or international, they help us to like run this club. And since we go out of the city, we need to take a bus and they pay for our transport. And sometimes they bring like trainers and travelers to like plant trees with us so that they can reduce their carbon footprint while in Mongolia. And next slide. And because of the environmental issue and climate, we are not able to plant the trees all across the years, but we have very good like allies that helps us to keep the trees alive during the times we are not able to participate. And most active period of our club is between April and October. It's the most like warm weather that's suitable to plant the trees. Okay, next slide. And most beautiful thing about our club is that actually our club has been getting like bigger and bigger as day passes, but most importantly, the participants' age has been getting younger. In the past, the only like college students who is trying to study in abroad used to plant the trees for the certificate, but now everyone from the age to like 6 to age to like 60 plant the trees, and they actively participate in all the actions. So I believe it's one of the very like good thing about our club. Like they don't need any like qualifications to participate, but they can just by simply showing up. So now I will move into the like most important part. So our club is actually run in the Mongolia, and Mongolia is the one of the country that has good diplomatic relationship with the North and South Korea. So North and South Korea's peoples came to Mongolia to like plant the trees, and sometimes we go to the North Korea embassy to plant trees, and it helps us to restore the connections, relationships between two countries. And next slide. So I would like to start by sharing my experience in planting tree in North Korea embassy. So actually, our club has been connected with them since 2018 or even before that. And I joined this club like 3 years ago. So this post was the first time I ever had the chance to like plant tree in North Korea embassy. So our teacher make a post in the Facebook, and everyone who is willing to participate can join. And at the first, when I saw the post, I was not sure if he was actually referring to the North Korea, because to me, North Korea seemed like the place that is unapproachable, that is impossible to work with. But once I get there, everything was normal, and it was like eye-opening experience for me. And I believe this is the great example that people can actually like wash up any media-related things, any like assumptions about the other countries, because we like working in person and we are collaborating, we are working together to like make better future. So it was my experience in working with in the North Korean embassy. And also I has worked with South Koreans like 2 times. And right after this seminar, like tomorrow, we actually have a tree planting activity with the Green Rangers from South Korea. And next slide. And this is some of the photos of the last year. Actually, I become the friends with the South Korean students. It's just one chat, but like I become friends with lots of them, and we learned about each other's culture and we heard about each other. And since Mongolia is the country that has good relationship with the both South and North, it was possible to bring them to the national park to plant trees. Those 2 pictures in the dawn is one with the North Korea and one with the South Korea. They came to Mongolia to plant trees. Even though they didn't work together at the time, I hope it's possible in the future. And since the yacht is the new generation that will represent the future, I hope it will be like also an eye-opening experience for them. And next slide. So this is also one of the photos with in the green belt, the area that plants the tree that's located in the Ulaanbaatar, that actually has the government support, and South Koreans actually planted trees in those areas. And actually, when I first went there, one of the presenter talked about like why they came to Mongolia to plant the trees. And he said during the winter times, air pollutions that is created in the Mongolia actually travels to the South and North Korea. And he talked about that environmental impact we created is actually shared globally, and I think that pollution doesn't has a border in it, and we should always work together to make it like Earth better. And it definitely inspired me. And next slide. And not just only 2 Koreas, but also many other countries such as Japan, Taiwan, and these are the 2 countries that came to like Mongolia to work with microbursts, but I'm sure there's plenty of them. And yacht is the one that like helps the 2 nations to connect. And I believe by working together, we can become one. And next slide. So I talked about how tree planting can help to restore global peace, but I want to ask another question in the end of the presentation. So can environmental action build peace where politics can't? It's the question I want to ask from the peoples. And actually, my answer to this question is yes, because when I participated in the Mongolian Forum this year, I saw the possibility of bringing 2 nations with help of the tree planting in Mongolia. And next slide. And this is some of the suggestions I like present to the yacht leaders in this seminar. So I think we can create cross-national campaign where youth from divided regions work together online or on site. And there is one program that's named Body Program from the Indonesia that I participated 2 times in the last year, and it had great impact. And youth delegates like today's events can also help to create a great change, I believe. And next slide. And those few slides that is going to show is some of the areas my clubbers planted tree, and you can go 1 or 2 slides. Those are the times we planted the trees, and those are the times that we made a change in the urban and rural areas in the Ulaanbaatar. And next slide. Next slide. The Peace Park is actually where 2 Koreas are planning to work together in the future. And next slide. Next slide. Yeah, and it comes to the ending. So what I want to say with all those past pictures was that Korea, young people from Korea not just likes, they loves to plant trees in Mongolia, in Ulaanbaatar, while learning about the cultures. And I believe all the impacts they created will last long. And I just hope, it's just my dream, that North and South Korea can become one in the Mongolia with the help of my clubbers. And there is one saying that one person's dream is just a dream, but a dream shared by many can become reality. So I hope everyone in this Zoom can actually help to become my dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentations, Ace and Bertha, for how you can express your My Clubbers, start from grassroots initiative, grow to the national-wide and a cross-national campaign through youth dialogue. It is very important for creating peace building. I like the word when you say to plant trees, you have to plant it in your head first. It isn't to make sure that our mindset is to have a clear environmental protection first before we go into the other peace building efforts. Thank you so much once again for your presentations and material, and
Thank you.
for have enriched our conversations, especially in journey toward Korean unification. We will talk any further with one of our other speakers. Please allow me to introduce our next speaker, Rumit Walia from Global Peace Corps. So Rumit Walia is a creative peace builder and environmentalist currently with Global Peace Leadership Corps team. He is helping the developed cohort in Uganda and Mongolia, and also is working on environmental portfolio. He is the founder of Tears of Earth and manage youth affair in South and Southeast Asia for earthday.org. With over a decade of experience, he empowers youth through a sustainability, dialogue, community, peace building, and formative art. Leading initiative across India, Russia, and beyond. He is a U.S. States Department IVLP alumnus, and also in the Sustainability Mentor for Young Leaders in the Ministry of Youth Affairs in India. Wow, a very good experience. Please let me have a warm welcome to Rumit. Hello, Rumit.
Hi everyone. Hi. Oh, I guess it's like the Indonesian wallpaper in the background. Let me just change that. I feel like
okay.
I'm nice.
Enjoying the tropical island that time. It's okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Rumit. So Rumit will tell us about the role of youth in peace and sustainability environmental issue as a path to peace and global example of youth green actions. So let's focus our mind and give him a warm welcome once again. And Rumit, time is yours to share your material.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the moderator and Shantia, Moody, all the team in Indonesia, and all the amazing people. I see more than 125 people already joined the coil. And Golo and Inkchin very, very nicely mentioned all the things about environment and peace. So I'll just maybe try to keep it in a way that I'll clear some of the jargon words that are there around in the world. And before we move to that, let me just tell you a little bit about Global Peace Leadership Core. I'm sure all of you know because you're part of the UGen, an amazing program that Indonesia is doing. But so I'm part of the Global Peace Leadership Core, the core team that we have. I'm working beside Mark and Jeremy. And recently, Shanti from Nepal and Ami from US also joined us. And Global Peace Leadership Core have so many programs happening around the world. And we always look for people like you who are doing these amazing programs. My club recently became one of our partners when we signed an MOU in Mongolian Forum. And it was really, truly amazing to see the efforts that these young people are doing. I'm developing cohorts, helping developing cohorts in Uganda and Mongolia, and both the countries are doing a fantastic job. Maybe we would love to see Uganda and Mongolia doing something like this. Maybe the Indonesian team can also take some sessions at some point. So Global Peace Leadership Core basically have three pillars, and all these three pillars can be achieved and are being achieved through environmental conservation, or how I would like to say it, environmental stewardship. The first pillar that we have is service. The second one is leadership, and the third word is education. I mean, you can always move them around. So service, education, leadership, or service, leadership, education, however you want to say that, are the three pillars that Global Peace Leadership Core is built upon. It's basically the foundation apart from the Global Peace Foundation values and principles that we have. Now, when we look at the service part of it, I think environmental conservation and environmental action, climate action, the stewards, the people doing the work in Mongolia, Indonesia, Uganda, Korea, all of the people really doesn't care about when it comes to the environment. They don't care about which country they are from, which religion or caste or background they are from, what ethnicity or legacy they are taking from their tradition and cultures, or basically what are the beliefs that they believe in. Whenever we talk about climate change or climate action, it's like a wave of all the people, irrespective of color, sex, religion. They all come together and they all work together for environment, because they all have realized that if the earth is not there, then these small conflict that we do every day, these small arguments that we got into, and these all these little issues that we have around us really doesn't matter if there is something big like climate change. If many of the homes are being washed away through the high level sea rise, many of the people are not able to breathe properly because of the pollution. And when I say that, I have experienced it because I come from the pollution capital of the world. So right now I am sitting in New Delhi in India, which is again not a good thing to brag about, but yes, we are the pollution capital of the world. And I've seen Indonesian cities also always making in top of those lists as well, so people can actually relate with me. Now, when we come to the education nowadays, a lot of people across the world, all these countries into the NDCs. So NDCs are nationally determined contributions, which came from COP, Paris Agreement, COP 15, Conference of Parties. And all these countries are continuously updating these NDCs and adding climate education and environmental education into the curriculum. So they're teaching their kids, they're teaching the primary kids, not just about the issues, the pollution and all this thing. They're teaching their kids about how to solve that, how to come together, how to plant trees, how to grow your own food, how to let's say take help of technology and AI to solve these issues, maybe doing data analysis and gathering information about climate refugees. And third, leadership. When we talk about you go onto the internet, and if you write right now current top leaders in the world, 90% of them will be showcased are the people, like the current times, not the past times, are the people who are actually working in the environmental conservation. They might be from UN, they might be from big organizations who are working in environment like Greenpeace or Earth Day, or all these amazing organizations who are not just planting trees. I mean, environment is, of course, planting trees is one of the biggest thing that we can do, but environment is more to it. So basically, Indonesia, I see I think is the country with maximum number of island. So ocean to Indonesia is like one of the biggest asset and one of the biggest, in my time, I would say, a sacred place which Indonesian people are trying their best to preserve, because ocean is literally the life. I mean, more than the forest, ocean is the biggest carbon sink. So carbon sink, I'll just tell you for the people who don't know, carbon sink is basically a place or a body which absorbs carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that are there in the world promoting global warming. And ocean are the biggest carbon sink. A lot of time we feel that maybe the forest is the biggest carbon sink. They are absorbing a lot of carbon dioxide. Maybe recycling plastic is one of the biggest thing that we can do. But really, the best thing that people are doing and can do is preserving our oceans. And I'm sure, because Indonesia, again, one of the beautiful countries. I've never been there. Maybe I'll be there very soon. But yeah, so these are the three pillars that Global Peace Leadership Core is based upon. And all these three are linked with environment, because what happens, uh, climate change and climate action is one of the largest issues. Climate change is one of the largest issue that have brought people together in the world. If you go back into the history, there's never been a largest issue which has brought people together, irrespective of any kind of difference. Nobody literally is speaking about literally nothing. They just want to come together, plant trees, like how Engchen very nicely mentioned, North Korean, South Korean, Mongolian people. They just want to plant trees. They're not talking about how the countries are working, how the diplomacy is going, what are the problem, what are the issues. They're actually working on the solution. So when it comes to climate action, this is one of the, I think, a thing that we should really make benefit of. Now, when we turn it to the opposite side, how environmental conservation and peace building are really, really connected. So again, if you go back and check on the Google and read a little bit of history about conflicts, more than 50% of the conflicts that have ever happened are because of the land, either land rights or land something related to that, or water. So all the natural resources, basically either a river or a piece of land, usually builds up the conflict around the world. Right now, a lot of conflicts are happening are also because majorly because of land, and then in smaller places like in Africa, there are a lot of issues happening. In India also now, if you might have read the news about the treaty that we used to have with Pakistan, and the China border that we have with Arunachal Pradesh, one of our states, it's all happening because of the rivers. It's all happening because people have natural resources, and every country wants to have the major part of that natural resource in their territory. So environment has always been a fuel to the conflict, but climate change again has been a fuel to the peace building. Another thing that I've recently noticed, a lot of people, I was interviewing a lot of people from Ukraine, from Russia. So I work a lot with Russia and the Russian government promoting sustainability, and I'll talk about plastic, what we are doing. But when we were interviewing these people, one person came up with an amazing example, and the person said that whenever wars happen, whenever conflicts happen, the number of people who have died, the number of homes who have been demolished, or the number of or the area that has been let's say destroyed by either party is always in the news. But there were a team of people who were working there in Ukraine, or let's say in Russia or Israel, or Hamas, and like all the other conflict that are happening around the world now, Iran and Iraq, Lebanon. They mentioned that a lot of people were actually planting trees in those areas. There were around thousands of trees. They had created forest. They had preserved endangered species on those areas. They had created wetlands. Nobody talked about the effort and the practice of 15 years. I mean, a tree, usually the average time span of a tree to grow and provide oxygen for us is 15 years. After 15 years, we can say, okay, this is something. 15 years were gone in 15 seconds. A bomb was dropped, and 15 seconds, I mean, the 15 years practice was gone. So nobody in the media actually talks about the environmental side of it. But that was all also, I mean, those were also life. Trees are also living species. I'm not comparing it to the human life, but the human lives who were actually planting those trees, human lives who were actually preserving the endangered species. How many other let's say tigers or cows or buffaloes or all of these species might have also died in the wars. So maybe if we also add in that factor, and this is what the person has said, I'm just transferring it to you. If we also add up those numbers, if we also add up the number of trees, add up the number of forest and the species, the amount of destruction that we will see in those numbers that come out of the war will be way worse. And maybe the world will wake up then. So that always happens. And so let's move to other side. Plastic is always a problem, and plastic is something that I'm working with the Russian house in Delhi and Russian people in Russia as well, and then also with, so we have a project which is working with 12 countries. Maybe Indonesia will be a part of it. US and Russia both are part of it. Again, I mean, they are fighting right now, but whenever it comes to environment or whenever it comes to technology, let's say space exploration out there from the earth, whenever an astronaut goes up, the astronaut always say that they do not see borders. All they see is a one big sphere. So maybe whenever this perspective came in, all of these countries are together. But maybe in diplomacy and all of their politics, they're always fighting. So Indonesia, similarly to India, have a huge plastic problem. I mean, India have a lot of landfills. We basically dump it in land, and because we do not have in North India, we do not have the ocean part. In South India, it is, but Indonesia dumps most of it plastic waste in ocean. But then recently, the INCs that were happening, the intergovernmental negotiation committees that has happened, which lastly happened in Korea, and now I think the next one will be final one will be happening in Sweden, really talked about how all these countries, including Indonesia, has taken a pledge to reduce 70% of its marine plastic pollution in the coming years. And I think that is something that we can really celebrate. So rather than always putting up the bad news, the bad angle of climate change, we can always also glorify these things. And these are the things which also invite people from other countries. So maybe Philippines will follow the lead of Indonesia, because Philippines is also on the same path. Maybe Malaysia and Singapore is doing good, but Malaysia maybe will also take the lead when Indonesia does that. And how this develops peace building, because when one country learns from another country policy, which is good for the planet. I mean, if Indonesia, let's say, doesn't stop polluting the ocean around it, ocean have no borders, there's no walls in the oceans, the plastic is going to float away and it's going to affect other countries. So when Indonesia is taking a step and saying that, hey, we're not gonna dump our waste into the oceans now, it really sends a good message out there in the world to all the other countries that are surrounding the ocean. Hey, if Indonesia can do that, why are we not doing it? Why can't we support Indonesia in doing that? And that develops a trust between countries because they're all working for one thing together. And that's, I think, what Global Peace Leadership Core is also trying to do with youth. Right now, we're working on Korean Dream, but we also see environmental conservation as one of the models which we will be promoting very soon. And there's a new campaign coming up for Mongolia, wherein we will be asking people to support planting trees in Mongolia, because Mongolia in 2027 or 2026, I think next year next year they're doing COP17 UNCCD, and it's going to be a big thing. And I think Indonesia will be participating too. So whenever you think about these small efforts, maybe what will happen if I plant one tree in India, there's nothing going to affect Indonesia or Mongolia, but it really does, because the tree, whenever somebody plants a tree, the first thing that have to be understood, that the person is not planting it for themselves or himself or herself, because it takes around 15 to 20 years to get the fruits and the benefits of that tree. So the person is actually planting for the upcoming generation. And what could be the best thing as a service if you're doing something for the people who have not even yet born, let's say. So if you're planting for a next generation, is something really good. And that is similar to, I've seen a GPF Indonesia program. You do a lot of cleanups as well. And cleanup is also very similar to plantation. I mean, cleanup, you are bending down to pick up somebody else's waste. You were not the one who littered on that place, because if you were the one, you would not be picking it up. So when you're bending down to picking someone else's waste, it gives a very big peace building message out there in the world that if I can clear somebody else's mess, then we can actually stop all these conflicts, all these wars. It's always about just getting together and doing some activity. And on the same basis, Global Peace Leadership Core has its curriculum, which I'm sure many of you will be doing. It's a 5-module curriculum. Time for promotion, yes. But it's free of cost, so no promoting in that way. It also talks about these services. I mean, you can do cleanups, you can plant trees, you can go aware people about how to do environmental practices. And it starts with yourself. It starts with an individual, and one by one, like it becomes a chain. And it's similar in peace building. Peace building is also, it's also a generational shift. I mean, you cannot do peace building in just one day. It's an effort of decades. So for example, 134 people now learning about basics of peace building. How do you do that? Is just starting. And when they go out, when they become a part of the peace project that Indonesia does, they learn about other culture. When they plant trees, when they go sit in the boat and meet with the tribals and the indigenous people, learning about each other, and then they notice that they are how grateful they are to nature, because all these people living in forest and in island, they are more grateful to us. We have all these plastic bottles, we have the coffee and the straws and everything, but these people do not have. And they always believe, whenever I maybe I can give all of you a task, whenever you go to some project with the Indonesia team, just ask these tribals or Indonesian indigenous people about how do they feel about nature, and you will find that they pray to nature. They basically call it Mother Earth. One similarity I could also find in Mongolia and India, that maybe it's in Indonesia as well. In India, we always say that Earth is our mother. And in Mongolia also, I could find saying that says that Earth is their mother. So these people and a lot of people from these forests and indigenous community, they always believe that Earth is the first priority. And if they're not leaving a good piece of land for the upcoming generation, that they're not being successful in life, and they're not basically serving the purpose of them being here. And that is, I think, is the basic understanding that all of us can also understand. So whenever next time you use a straw and you throw it away, maybe you'll remember this talk. Or whenever you see somebody planting a tree, go help them, put some soil, put some water. Or if you see a tree dying somewhere, give the tree some water. Or maybe clean up a river, maybe just clean up your surrounding. I think that would be best. And whenever you talk about wars, whenever you talk about conflict, maybe that person who was in an interview with me, it's a good thing. Maybe with the number of lives that we have lost, you can also add the number of tree lives and the species lives that we have lost, and that may hit people with a bigger stick, I would say, an environmental stick taken up from a tree. And that's it. I actually wanted to share a PPT, but our partners are people from Gulo and Inkjin have shared the presentation already, and I think they covered it pretty well. And I will drop in my contact details as well. And please feel free to reach out to me for literally any kind of queries or something you have, because I've worked on the intersection of peace building, climate action, and space exploration. So all these three combined. And thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much, moderator and GPF Indonesia and Global Peace Corps team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rumit, for your great sharing material. This is very important for youth, especially us, who try to make understanding the alignment between the peace building and environmental actions. Thank you so much for your sharing. And I highlight one of the most things that I like about your speech is most of the conflicts, more than 50% is happening because of either our land or water, natural resources, some cause conflict. So by creating a restoration, we can reduce the conflict and creating more peace building effort. So thank you so much for your material once again. We have inspired to carry this insight forward to promoting unity. And wow, 3 speakers has been sharing their material. So we will seems like I said before, we'll open the Q&A session. So we will continue to discuss more. So if you still curious about something, feel free to raise your hand or write your question in the chat box, and I will read for you. So okay, I will give you some times. Some of you maybe want to raise your hand or write your question in the chat box. And I already seen there is a 2 question here from Sherin, yeah. Okay. This Sherin asked about Rumit point of view for experience as an Indian. How many people in India are interested in a campaign for Korea unification? It is already a big number, or is it still in the process of raising awareness? Maybe Rumit, you wanna answer Sherin's questions?
Sure. Amazing question, Sharon. To the point, really, because what we are doing now is the Korean reunification process. So, in terms of number, I think it's whatever the number is going to be, it's always going to be very small because, again, India is the largest populated country in the world. And we have like millions of youth, only like 14 million of youth in India itself. It's bigger than the population of some of the countries. So the number is going to be very small. And I'm using the superlative 3 times, so you can actually, it's quite small. So recently I've been working with US, Russia, Mongolia, and Uganda from almost a year. So I'm not sure about the updated number, but last when I was with GPF India, it's still in the process of awareness. A lot of people do know about North Korea situation and South Korea, but they don't really know about that there is something like an effort to unify them. And they're always shocked. Whenever we used to go out in the streets or to the colleges and universities, the first reaction that we used to get, oh, is that a thing? Is it possible? Are people working on that? And we used to say them, yes, people are working on that. Yes, it is possible, and it is a thing. And then they used to read a little bit more about it. But to be honest, I think it's going to take a big amount of energy and a big amount of campaigning to promote this. However, in terms of Indian diplomacy, India is one of the nations which have its embassy in both of the countries and functional one. So we have a functional embassy in North Korea as well. And we have been training North Korean diplomats in skill development, in communication, in negotiations, and also a little bit about environmental conservation. So we usually send our people from India to North Korea, and then they train their diplomats, and then these diplomats go out there in the world in other places to do these diplomacy, to do dialogues and things like that. So India having a good relationship with both the Koreas, I think can be a very good a middle, how do you say, a peacemaker in both of them. But the youth and the people really doesn't know about it a lot because, and India always say that it has to come from South Korea from a very larger amount before India starts to promote it. Because India itself, we have our borders with Pakistan and Bangladesh and Nepal and Sri Lanka and Bhutan are very good, but then we usually have problems with some of the sides, and it usually becomes a border issue. So we talk less about reunification of Korea. A lot of people in India talk more about reunification of the whole Indian peninsula. So maybe it'll pick up. And yeah, I hope I somehow answered your question, Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rumit. Sherin, hope that's answered your question. Yeah. If there is something else curious, you can ask Rumit directly. Yeah. After this, it's okay. So I will read the second questions. It's come from Maria. Yeah. Hello, my name is Maria from Indonesia. I have a question for Ancient. Yeah. Earlier, you mentioned that thousands of people have joined this club, right? That's a huge number. I'm curious, how did the community manage to engage so many people to take part in tree planting and care about environmental issues? Also, could you share how you and your team approach or connect with the members to help them become more aware and involved in environmental issues? As we know, there are still many people who don't care about environmental issues. How do you usually deal with that challenge? Thank you. Maybe Instant Bayatov, you wanna answer
I
the
would like
question?
to answer.
Yes.
So thank you for the question, Maria. And actually, our alumni is currently the member of the Parliament Group. They are the CEOs of many big organizations, and they have very big position in our country. And besides that, I believe just the sincerity and the impact of the work we do is actually the main reason why many people is attracted to us. When I first joined the microbers, the teacher didn't just told us to plant the trees and give us the tools, but he actually explained each single the trees we are going to plant and how it can make a difference in the area we are planting. And he actually showed himself in the first place, then made the newcomers collaborate with the experienced ones so everyone can learn. And during the dinner time, during the lunchtime, he talked about how we should open ourselves and how we should become active members of the community. He didn't force us. He is actually very open-minded, and he is very humorous person, and he acts like a father to every single one of us. And I believe that is the one big reason why microbers become so successful. And the plants we planted doesn't just end there. We go every single week to take care of them, so it actually grows way better than the other organizations, and many big companies has recognized it. Even though we never been on the news or televisions, just the people who participate in our club has shared it enough. And since every single one of them experience is good, they encourage other peoples to participate with them or go together with them for the next week. I think that's how it become so big over the past years.
Thank you so much for your answers. Hope that's answering Maria questions. Yeah. So intergenerational approach is very important to attract more participants in this opportunities. Yeah. Okay, I will open again for everyone here who want to give some question to our speaker today. And still open, raise your hand or share it to your chat box. I will read on it. But because I have my own question to one of our speaker in here. Yeah, Gulo. This is a very important because yeah, you have shared your material first, so I think I have write my own question. I hope this is can answered by you. So Gulo, I'm wondering about, you are from government, right? I mean, like you are inside the official member of government. So what is your perspective as a government saying about environmental issues? Yeah, beside what you have said in your material, are the government is optimist or pessimistic in facing the environmental issue? Because sometimes government have other view to let's growing the economic by cutting more natural resources. But the other hand, people are, yeah, they are shocking or hating and criticism government to not doing more natural resources exploration. So what do you perspective about this as a government or maybe like official, especially you, yeah, for this?
Thank you, Fahmi. That's a great questions. So when I work as a government, I know what's inside the government. But after the office hour, I truly understand and feel how to be the citizens, the public citizens facing all of the government's policies. What I could say is like there is no one single policy issued by the government that can welcome by everyone. Not a single policy. There must be a trade-off. Like for example, when we are going to lift up the economy from the landlocked islands or the least developed islands, for example, Indonesia. We want it or not, we have to build the bridge, we have to build the roads, and we have to divide the forests. But somehow there is a policy that, the governments in Indonesia, they kind of like building bridges just to make all the elephants, the tigers, and all of the animals can pass by the roads that for the animals can walk away. So it's not going to disturb between the lives of the animals and also the activity of the people. There must be a trade-off. And somehow what the government can do is like to minimize the consequences of the loss of the biodiversity and also the forest. That's what I'm thinking as the government, because there's always be victims consequences when we're going to live up the economy. But we can do is like to minimize the victims, and also we have to discuss with the indigenous people, the local communities, the best practice, because want it or not, somehow the development, there has to be a sacrifice. What the government do is to have the least sacrifice for the impact of the people. So yeah.
Okay, Gulo, thank you so much for sharing your perspective about this. Yeah, as a government, it's very hard, yeah, how to choose the less impact or effect on the environment. But the other side, we have to grow our economic and serving people the best option to support their social life. And this is the hardest. But thank you, Gulo. Hope you can still align with that value, yeah, with the governments and about the planting trees. Hope it can be more sustainable activities further. So there is one other question here. Hello everyone, my name is Devina from Machu University. I am particularly interested in how environmental initiatives intersect with peace building in divided regions. Given the theme Youth for One Korea, building peace through environmental actions, my question is, how can youth lead environmental movement, maintain political neutrality while also pushing for systemic change in inter-Korea relations, especially considering that ecological cooperation itself may be interpreted as a form of soft diplomacy? Thank you. Wow. This question is very hard, actually. I think one of our speaker here want to answer that, but maybe align with Rumit. Yeah, you have a lot of experience about this. Maybe you wanna answer?
Sure, sure. And before answering, I saw a question up there, like from Johnson, I think, are there any environmental plans for Kenya? So Johnson, just to let you know, there is a Global Peace Foundation in Kenya, and they are working with Chandaria Foundation and planting million trees. And Mr. Japet is the person whom I can connect you with. So you can reach out to me. I'll connect you with Mr. Japet. And if you can get to know more about what are the plans in Kenya. Coming to the question, very, very tough question, I would say. And it's a good one. I mean, soft diplomacy, again, it's one of the major parts of peace building. It all starts. So I'll give you an example before moving to the question. Why do you think that sports and games are always seen as one of the best tool for peace building to start with? I mean, our Uganda team, our Uganda person recently, Mr. Khalid did a Sports for Peace program, bringing teams from two different groups and playing soccer together. And sports has always seen, I mean, a match between India and Pakistan, or a match between a soccer match between countries and groups in Europe. It's always seen as one of the biggest tool for peace building to start with. I'll tell you why. Let's say Gulo and I are now together sitting and playing a chess match, and Ekchin will come and say, hey, you two have to play a chess match. So nobody from either I or Gulo will say, hey, my horse cannot do 2.5, my horse will do 3.5. Nobody from Gulo or I will say that. We will be like, Ekchin will be like, these are the two rules of chess and you have to play, and whoever wins, it's going to be a healthy competition. So that's the best thing. Whenever two teams or two or more teams play sports or games, they really do not argue about the rules. They just, without any reason, without any understanding from the moderator, they understand that, okay, these are the rules and we have to play by the rules. So both of these people who are not agreeing on literally anything, they were in conflict, somehow agreed to play a game of rules which they do not create. So that's the beauty of sports, and that's the beauty of games. And that's exactly how the soft power usually works. Now, coming to your question, environmental conservation have to be played in a very similar way to how sports are being done. Sports are being done to promote the skills of all the parties that are involved in sports. If one team is playing, if two teams are playing it, it's not like that one team, okay, one maybe win, but it's not like that they both do not like push their limits. They do not upskill themselves. They do not come up with strategies. The board do not come up with ideas to play even better, because in sports and in diplomacy like these, both of the parties benefit. Either they win or lose. And that's exactly what has to happen with environmental conservation and what I call green diplomacy. So both the countries have to benefit. And whenever you plant or whenever you clean up the wetlands, let's say wetlands is very good. Or whenever you promote the not going the endangered species, saving the endangered species, it helps the environment, which is not just beneficial for one border. So let's say if we are planting in North Korea, it's not only going to affect North Korea, but it's going to benefit South Korea as well, because the air is same. And Seoul is very near to the hills. So when we were in North Korea, we saw how barren the mountains on the North Korea side are, which you can see from the DMZ line. And if we plant on those forests, just think how the weather is going to be changing up to the Seoul as well. So this is how green diplomacy is always being played. It should never be about politics or political intent. Green diplomacy, it's going to be a soft power always, but it has to, what it does, it develops trust, it develops a means of dialogue, and it creates mutual understanding. And all these three things are the only three things that you will ever need to solve a conflict. If two countries are not talking to each other, there's no way you can solve a conflict. So because the dialogue has to happen. For dialogue, the mutual understanding have to happen. And then with the mutual understanding and dialogue, to reach to a conclusion, trust have to be there. And all these three things can be achieved by doing green diplomacy, by planting trees, or just making treaties how to clean up air, or how to stop plastic pollution, things like that. So because dialogue, again, if Russia and Ukraine can come to a dialogue, I'm sure that the conflict will stop, because they're not doing dialogue. They're not talking to each other. And maybe if somebody, but sadly, last point, environmental conservation and soft power, the down part of this is it actually cannot happen when there is a hot conflict. So when the hot conflict like Israel and Hamas and Russia and Ukraine are happening, the green diplomacy or the dialogue cannot really work if there is like literally fighting. First, there have to be a peacekeeping, then there have to be a peacemaking, and then afterward it has to be a peace building. It's a procedure. Keeping is like keeping the parties apart. Making is like making them sit together, signing an agreement, and then building that trust. So yeah, I hope I somehow answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rumit, for answering the questions. Hope that's answer your question, yeah, in previous Devina and Freddy Wangso. So there are a lot of questions here. I will start from the previous one from Maria once again. I also have a question for Gulo. Earlier you mentioned that it's better to build a mangrove wall to prevent abrasion. That's such an important idea, and I believe it's need to be heard by the governments in order to be realized. In your opinion, how can we make sure that suggestion like this, especially when it comes from us, who are not part of the government, can reach the government and get their attention? Wow. All right, Gulo, this is your expertise. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Maria. So it seems like you guys are facing the government. Just look at my ass, you look at the government itself. So I truly understand how you feel, guys. So when after the office hours, I try to be not a government officer. So I feel like, wow, I think this government has to do this thing and also this stuff. That's a really good question. You're absolutely right, Maria. Even if we are not government officers, well, I'm not government officer after office hours, but our voices still matter, Maria and everyone. Well, in my opinion, we have several ways how our ideas can reach the public policy officers in the government. I think it can be for Indonesia and also for all of the different countries in this world. The first thing is like, we have to work with local communities and build strong support. Why I say we have to work with local communities? Because when we work with local communities, people that working in the government will see, oh, I think I see Maria and everyone, they're doing something in this village in Indonesia, in Kenya. Oh, I see Fahmi or Rumit or Engine or Gulo in the social media, they're doing something. Because most people working in government, for example, in the Ministry of Finance, most of us, mostly I would say that we don't have informal or maybe informal environmental background. That's why I'm here. I had experienced the environmental consequences, and I personally want to involve in environmental issues. So by doing this, other government officers in the Ministry of Finance and also have a broader network in Indonesian governments and also in ASEAN, it's going to influence my government fellows to do something what I'm doing. For example, last Sunday, we were growing 200 mangroves. I think with Kak Mudi and also friends, there were only 2 government officers. And I promised myself I'm going to bring tens, even hundreds of government officers. And several government officers in other ministries in Indonesia, they have confirmed me. Well, they're like, my close friends, that they're going to join this International Mangrove Day this Saturday. So it gives impact. For example, someone like me, one government officer like me, I can engage more government officers to join you guys. Because, answering question, just like Fahmi first asked me and then Maria, is a very tough question. It seems like I represent the whole the government. So it seems like the hope is, in the shoulder of me. That's the first thing. So work with local communities. And if you have any government officers, ask them to join any peace building or environmental issues in the local communities at the first time. The second one is, we have to do collaboration. What we are doing here, me as a government officer, we have the NGOs here, we have the academias, the lecturers, the university students, we have the media. So from the local communities, let's do it to the pentahelix, like I said before. So every background of professionals have to get involved here. That's the second. And the third one, the usage of social media platform. So I said before, I planted 200 mangroves. If I just keep it on site, if I didn't post it in my Instagram stories, in my LinkedIn, or in my YouTube, I think nobody knows that. Well, some people will think, I think it's too exaggerating, to post every good things in your life, in your social media. But it's different. It depends on the point of view. You know how I want to ask my fellow government officers, because I upload it in social medias, and somehow they just want to join this Saturday, not because of the impact, because they never plant mangroves before. And I told them, last Sunday it was my very first time planting mangroves. It was so fun, and it seems like everyone have one mangrove seedling. And guess what? I even plant 5 to 10 mangrove seedlings, and it makes me happy. You have to try, guys. Okay, let's join. So that's the thing. So all of the goodness that you have here in peace building and environment, just share it in social media, because it has a powerful message. Just like what happened earlier in this year in Indonesia about the nickel, about the renewable energy. Well, all of people move to renewable energy with batteries and stuff, but somehow people neglect that it comes from the nickels mine in Celebes, Sulawesi, and also in Papua and other regions in Indonesia. So use your social media. So social media is created for social goodness. Don't let people grab our social goodness from making unuseful viral things. This the third. The fourth one is join discussion like this, like national determine NDC, and also about carbon trading, carbon market. There's so many terms happening in the last few years. I personally even doesn't know about the terms, but I learn. So people like you guys here, I saw like so many university students. I know most of you guys here are reading or majoring not only in peace building, not only from environment, but joining a very different topic like this is going to enrich your mindset. Even in the seminar like this, it's not just from Indonesia, because mostly the participants are from Indonesia, because you're going to unlock your mindset, what's happening here in Kenya, what's happening in India and also in Mongolia. Even some people don't know in the map we're in Mongolia, but people here can feel what has been done in Mongolia can affect us. This is the fourth. And the fifth one is you can guys submit your proposal or like a campaign. Like there is a platform like campaign.org. It really matters. Thousands, even more people, you sign up for that. And that's called, action. I know Maria and everyone here, sometimes it's very hard to reach the government, but when it goes viral, the power of the people here, one by one by one, it sum up, it's going to be called as people power. That's something that can change the perspective of the government, and government is very afraid when there is a nation or global movement, because they cannot live without every single voices like you guys. I think those are the 5 ways how you can reach people. Even a government officer like me, I really must have a strategist to how to influence the top policymakers in my institution. Well, I know how it's hard, but I'm here to join this restoration for peace to show you guys that we cannot generalize that all of the government officers are the same, but there's some people here in the institution in the government that also want to create change with you. That's why I'm here to work together with NGOs, academia, media, and private sectors. I hope it answers your question, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gulo. It's a very great answer once again. Yeah, the best approach. I just want to make sure before continues the next question, Mas Gulo, this is your office time or your free time? Because you're answering like a government representative right now. I think you are on working right now, yeah, as a government.
Well, I propose a lift time to my to to my to my senior officers, so they know that I'm doing a panel session right now. So yeah, there's a lift time. So I sacrifice
Okay.
my lift for you guys here.
All right, that's great, Gulo. So this is actually your working time as government officer, but you take a leave for this session. This is very good. Thank you for showing about. And one of the best approach is very using campaign. Yeah. So when people doing their movement through campaigns and government want to hear that because it's viral or people talk about it a lot. So seems like what happened first viral go viral and then maybe we can change something through the viral and people awareness is go to campaign. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gulo. Once again, this is very good and relevant for nowadays youth, especially. Yeah, to creating a movement or creating an environmental approaches. So I want to go to the next questions here. Yeah, from Valentin. Hello, my name is Valen from Indonesia. I may ask how to ensure that peace buildings not only stop conflict but also build social justice. All right. So I think I want to give this opportunity to Aizen Bayartov. Yeah, how your my clubbers maybe can align about creating a peace building and reduce the conflict.
Yes, so actually about this question, I'm not very knowledgeable, but the social justice is actually the thing that ensures that people they are being treated fair. And I believe the environment is the one thing that everyone from anywhere in the world can agree to develop. Everyone wants to protect the earth, and everyone is willing to participate. So I believe by just showing the real impact, by showing how much the soil that was eroded changed over the past years, or just how much the environment nearby has impacted by the real action, could actually make people believe the impact, the actions the people are doing is actually helping them, actually making their life better. And I believe everyone loves the earth, everyone loves the environment. So by just making the real impact, we can make sure that people feels like their lives are getting better, or they are being treated fairly. And I would like to actually share this question to the other two panelists, because I'm not very knowledgeable about this question to answer fully. So
Okay, thank you so much, Anton. But one highlight point is creating a social justice makes sure that fairly approach and fair access to everyone's, and this is very important also to create a peace building. So maybe I will give the opportunity to Rumit about this. You want to add something to create some reducing this social justice and also about the peace building?
Sure. So very briefly, I will mention if I had just 3 seconds, let's say. So, Valentine, peace building is actually about not stopping the conflicts. It's about preventing the conflicts from happening. So that is the job of, let's say, if peace building was a person, the person has to prevent the conflicts rather than stopping them. Peace building, unfortunately, cannot stop the conflicts. It can only prevent, because, as I said, there are three terms: peacemaking, peacekeeping, and peace building. First is peacekeeping, like when you keep the bodies in hot conflicts apart. So let's say ceasefire. Ceasefire is an example of peacekeeping. If there is a ceasefire between Russia, Ukraine, and all the other conflict that are happening, that will be peacekeeping. Second step would be peacemaking. Now there has to be a mediator in between. Let's say India, there is a mediator, asked both the parties to sit and sign an agreement. In terms of environmental conservation, conference of parties that happens is a peacemaking process, because they ask all the countries to sit on one table and sign an agreement that they will not pollute the earth. And then the third one, and the most important one, which is a liberal term, but it's realistic as well, is peace building, wherein people like you, all the amazing 142 now people who are attending this session, are going to be peace builders or are already peace builders, who are joining this session. And then you will replicate this, you will share this information about all the other people. You will be generous to every species on this planet. You will not affect anybody in a bad way. That is called peace building. So basically, being true human is peace building. And I think when you understand that peace building is just about loving everybody and not harming anybody in their own way. There are people who might be harmed from an action that you might not be. So just understanding them, again, trust, dialogue, and mutual understanding is basically social justice. And social justice is one of the pillars for peace building, in fact. Just word is very heavy word. So we need to just transition, just equity, just social. It's a very tough word to understand. But again, it's very easy to do. Just be of your true self and do not harm anyone in their own way. So you have to understand first. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Rumit and Ekin, for your answer. And yeah, this is very one important point, yeah, where social justice is also part of peace building goals. So I will continue to the next questions. Here's from Niz. Hello everyone, I am Niz and nice to meet you. Thank you to all the speakers for the insightful sharing. My question is for Gulo. What values of peace can be cultivated and practiced through collective efforts such as mangrove planting? So, Gulo, maybe you can share a bit about why mangrove is very important to creating a peace building.
Thank you so much, Nis. Well, it's a very simple question, but it's very tough because when I'm thinking about planting mangroves, the first thing that comes to my mind is togetherness. In my presentation, I always say pentahelix. Why togetherness? When in my office hours, for example, when governments do a restoration activity of planting, it's going to be government with government or government with business, G2G or G2B. In the Sunday mangrove planting, I feel like it's togetherness where governments, where media, private sectors, academians, local communities, lecturers, and also the women from the coastal communities come together and we interact. And there is no titles. And there is no codes that you're coming from government. No, we all wore the same t-shirts. We wore the same t-shirts and dress. And I would say like, everyone was equal, was equal and the same, whatever your background. You're from what institution, what university you were studying, you graduate from. We all come here together with one purpose. We want to plant the mangroves for our generation and for the generations of the generations. I think that's why I felt first the togetherness. And the second one, that's responsibility. How did you go to your campus today? How did you go to work? With train, there's a mission. You have seen for that. With motorcycle, with car, with airplane, everyone has sins for that. And you have to pay for your sins. One of the ways to pay for your sins, you can plant a tree. You can plant a tree. It's very simple. If you cannot plant a tree, you cannot plant a mangrove, you can buy the seedling. So someone else will plant for the tree. But how can I play? It's another thing that we're going to talk about in JDPNS. That's very possible. That's the responsibility. Whatever your background, we don't care. What we care is you come here to plant a tree. That's the second one. And the third, I would say, needs hope. As like what Rumit said, we need like 10 or even 15 years to plant tree, but it will take like seconds when the booms come, when we cut the trees. That's hope. Hope needs time. Sometimes it takes days, months, even years. Imagine, whatever your background, we plant the mangroves, we plant the trees. Whatever your religions, your tribes, your races, all the communities, all the people will stand together to keep this tree. Imagine there is a very large, huge tree. Everyone is fight for this tree. Don't bomb this. Imagine if this tree is the buildings, the homes of all the people, whatever religions, people will want to keep that. That's bring hopes, like what Engine did. How to bridge the North and South, Korea and everyone. Well, we cannot say building, we cannot say the car, but when you said about the tree, it can unite us because the speakers here mostly talk about the trees and how we bridge the people from different perspectives. The third is hope, and I think the last is restoration, because the project is about restoration, because we might have sins to the earth and our parents might have sins, and the way we have to heal that, we can clean the beaches, all the roads, and also plant the trees. Because, by saying restoration, there must be something that has been hurt, damaged. If it's not the baby boomer, it has to be the millennials. If it's not to be the millennials, it has to be the Gen Z and also the next generations. Imagine, somehow the rich people are from the baby boomers. Somehow those that have ideas as the millennials and those who have power, more energy, it can be the Gen Z. Imagine if we bridge these generations, come together to restore the earth. That's why we have the quote, grow a tree, grow peace. Thank you, Nis, and everyone.
Thank you so much, Gulo. This is a very interesting answer. Yeah, togetherness, responsibility to pay our sins, and also hope. Hopes need times, and that's what we did here. We try to create more hope. Yeah. So everyone who 140 more participant here, we believe that our this webinar, you guys have new hope that environmental activities or approaches is very essential or important to create peace building. So thank you so much, Gula, once again for your answers. I will continue to our next question, but yeah, I think I can hard to read this one, yeah. So, but Sherin, I think you translate it, yeah. So I want to start a business, but I don't know how to start it. Let me introduce myself. My name is Salma, and I'm from Indonesia, Sukabumi City, West Java. I would like to ask you for inspiration about business. So this is a very good question there, especially try to create business which not only create the benefits for ourselves but also creating more sustainable environment, like creating eco product or something else. Did someone of our speaker have a lot of experience about this? I will give a chance to you guys. Okay, Rumit, maybe you can share
Sure.
about your
She
thought
wrote in
about this.
Hindi very nicely. So it's Devanagari script that she wrote in, and I could read that. So thank you, Salma. I mean, I cannot answer this question in like 1 minute or 2 minutes. So I've reached out to her saying that she can reach out to me later on. But our moderator here himself has created this new wonderful idea that how entrepreneurship and environment can be together. And maybe I can share an example of what's happening in Kenya itself and Uganda. So there are people who collect waste. It's an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur. He collects waste, segregate it, and then he send it off for recycling. And just by doing that, he's earning a very good amount of money. So even by he's just not cleaning the environment. He's just not picking up the waste and collecting it somewhere, cleaning the environment. He's also earning out of it. So there are so many ideas in terms of entrepreneurship, be it what our person Gulo mentioned, like climate finance and carbon credits and green credits. These are very new terms, but these are very fancy and business terms as well. There are a lot of companies who now have job openings, startups that they are funding based on these terms only. If you understand what climate finance is, I mean, you one of the top 10 needed people in the world, because it's all about credit programs. If let's say my club is planting in Mongolia, a company can go and buy, paying them 1 million rupee, 1 million, let's say dollars, and pay and say, hey, these trees that you planted, we're going to take credits and we'll pay you this amount of money. Now, if you understand that whole business model, and $1 million, my club can now plant, I think, tens, thousands of millions of trees more, just if that model is being understood. And there are people who are creating startups to make people understand about. There are educational online educational courses that you can develop, and so many things. So it really, Selma, it's really all about what you like and which direction you would like to go in terms of entrepreneurship. Would you like to create a product? So but out of everything, out of any entrepreneur, you have to have a problem that you identify and that you relate to. So if there is a problem that you know and that you relate to, that this is something that I really want to solve, then I think you can become a very good entrepreneur. And money just comes by. If you're solving a problem and it's helping people, money will come to you. So you don't have to worry about that. And maybe when you reach out to me later, we can understand this in detail. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rumit, for your answer. Yeah, in short, maybe it's try to find a problem first, especially in environmental issues. Yeah, and then try to find a solution and try to do that with a business model. I think, yeah, in short, yeah, you can DM or direct message to Rumit any further if you want to talk any more about the business idea. So I will go to the next question here. I think this wanna ask one more time about, guys. I'm curious how to you personally find inner peace first before trying to create peace in the environment, especially considering the stress of things like in the economy and global conflict. So yeah, I think this is very relevant to three of the speakers. Yeah, but I want to give this opportunity to Ekman first. What do you think about this? So I will continue to the next speaker.
I right?
You can start first.
So actually, since the sixth grade, I used to study at one of the only three schools in Mongolia with the international program that is supported by the government. So we were required to like study starting from the 7 a.m. to like up until the 9 or 10 p.m. It's not just only study, but we used to also write a project and do other stuffs, run a club. And I'm not sure, since I don't work, it's right to use the word workaholic, but it was more like studyholic, you know. And wherever I get free time, I used to not be able to like just sit and relax. And I think one thing that helped me was like be connected with the environment. Like I'm not sure if this works for everyone, but if you just sit outside in the good weather while doing nothing, like it can actually help you to like bring peace in your mind. At the first, you will just think you are wasting time and you feel like you are like you need to work or you need to solve the conflicts or some other problems in your life might get in your mind. But as the time passes, I believe you will just learn to be more peaceful. And as the Gula has mentioned before, planting tree is actually one of the greatest things you can do in your life. In Mongolia, we say you have to do three things before dying, which is planting tree, giving birth, and reading book. And I think those things will help you to like discover from all those problems in your life. And I'm not very experienced with lots of different things, so I will end this year.
Okay, thank you. So Ekman tips is try to take a little break, yeah. Go outside, take some calm from environments and maybe do something that make your inner peace build rather than try to thinking more about what a big issues happening now. So thank you so much, Ekman. So I will continue to Gulo. What is your tips about this, Gulo? Creating inner peace in your before we talk about further conflict in the front.
Thank you so much. This again is a good questions. Working internally in the government is very heavy in terms of physically and also psychologically and stuff. Even after the office hours, you see all of the things on social media and you see all the comments of the people blaming and condemning about the governments. It seems like, oh my goodness, what I've been doing in the government institution are not really welcome by the people. Well, I have three things that I'm doing. The first, exercise. I love running. It's very simple and easy for me. So when I get the endorphins and endorphins, the hormones, it really helps me relieve the stress. This is the first, the exercise. The second one, I have a very close friend. So I think everyone here has a very close friend or bestie. So you can talk everything in your life with your friends. So you might not find any solutions, but the way you just, you just say out loud everything with your friends is going to, reduce the stress and the burden in your life. The second thing. The third one is I love hiking to the mountain. When I hike, no internet. I maybe have my phone because I want to take photos and videos and pictures, but nobody will contact me, including my boss and officers in my office. Nobody. It seems like it's a different way how to escape without any internet. If not going to hike, I think people will think that you are supposed to have internet connection. But when I was hiking, people will never complain that I no longer have internet connection. I think these two things really helped me. Thank you.
Okay, Gulo has mentioned about creating some exercises, talk about your best friend or very close friends, and hiking. Yeah, do hiking is very help to reduce stress and also get escape for our internet. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to understand about the nowadays issue, but just take a short break and it's help you and create your inner peace once again. Yeah, in this. Yeah, this is Gulo tips about that. So, how about you, Rumit? What do you do to find your inner peace before talk about the big issues?
Yeah. So I stay away from social media to start with. Social media nowadays we use for hours and hours, and after a certain point of time, we are in that zone. We don't realize that many hours have passed and we are just scrolling. So, and there's a lot of negative news, bad news around that. So maybe first thing that you all can do is limit your social media time. Use it for good. Another thing I can just now relate with Inkchin and Gulu very nicely said. Gulu likes to go on trekking, Inkchin likes to go outside. So you can actually see how environment and peace building are also linked when you talk about inner peace. Because you ask literally anybody around you, do they feel good when they go out in a park? Do they feel good when they go out in the nature, when they sit in the grass, when they look at the stars, when they go on hiking and trailing and trekking? Everybody will say yes. So that is something which, I mean, it proves my point that environmental conservation and peace building are truly linked together. So that is another way I would say go out. Again, linked to the first one, go take yourself out from the screens for some time and you'll feel good. And the third thing I would say is find your happy thing. So just ask this question to you whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel, oh, there's a lot of conflict happening. Oh, what's going to happen to the economy? I don't have a job or something like that. Just ask this question. What makes you playful? What is that one thing which you can do, like most of the times you will not be bored and you will always be happy and things like that, and maybe start with that, start doing that thing for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, maybe take a day or two, and then your mind will come back to you in its own phase, and then the mind will come back with answers. Maybe you can do this to solve this anxiety or solve this issue or conflict that you're having in your mind. And it works all the time. I mean, I can say you can do yoga, you can do a meditation, but those are hard things to start with. Even I struggle a lot of times. But maybe these things, what makes you playful? Maybe go out, play with a dog or cat, or maybe just listen to songs, maybe dance. If you dance, do share with us as well so we can see. Share that on social media, that's good thing, but do not do the scrolling for 5 hours a day. That is what which is killing us all. Yeah.
Thank you, Rumit, for sharing about your thought. Yeah. So try to find what makes us playful, doing that without feeling bored or enjoy. Yeah. So I think it's creative peace in our inner peace. Yeah. So thank you so much for all speaker about the Q&A sessions. I think we have done
Before
here.
that, I
Oh yeah,
want
maybe Agent, you want to
to add
answer,
one
add
thing.
more?
Yeah,
Sure,
yes,
sure.
question. So when I read the question, it asked how we find the inner peace before we trying to create peace in the environment. So I want to say you don't have to like necessarily find your own peace to do something good. Like while you are trying to like do good things, people around you or just you can change. For me, it was same. Like at the first, I just didn't consider my actions as important. But when people around me, or when I go back to the site and see the plants I planted growing, it bringed me a peace and it helped me to become more like calm. So I hope you just do the actions without thinking too much.
Wow. This is one most point. Find, create, grow your or inner peace is not doing something else much, but try something in the simple ways. Yeah, I think that's what I can conclude. Yeah, for Edmund. And thank you once again for your additional answers. And this is very important for all of us. And same as I said before, it's 3 o'clock in Indonesian time. So I think I have to finish the Q&A sessions. And once again, thank you for all great and thoughtful questions, everyone. We truly appreciate your curiosity and engagement. Let's carry this energy forward beyond today's sessions. Let's wrap up our Q&A session now. I will hand back to our MC to continue the program. Once again, thank you so much for the session, everyone.
Thank you so much, Fahmi, for your excellent moderation and also for guiding us through our discussions today. The discussion is very insightful as we explored how youth-led environmental efforts like mangrove planting in Indonesia, tree planting in Mongolia, and waste cleanup, just like what Rumit said before, can become powerful tools for building peace. And we also have seen how local environmental actions not only strengthen communities, but also connect to broader global efforts, including peace on the Korean Peninsula. Quick heads up to all participants, please don't leave the room just yet because we will be sharing the link for attendance and certificate at the end of this webinar. And now we finally have reached the special part of our program, which is the recognition of our moderator and speakers. So it is my pleasure to present certificates of appreciation to our moderator first, to Nur Fahmi Asidik. So thank you, Fahmi, for leading our session very well.
Thank you so much.
And now we provide a certificate symbolism for Jaya Setiawan Gulo. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience with us today.
Thank you so much, everyone.
And next, we provide certificate symbolism for Engjin Bayarso. Thank you so much for inspiring us, especially me.
Thank you.
And next, we provide certificate symbolism for Rumit Walia. Thank you so much for your valuable insights.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you to our moderator and all our speakers for your contributions and for inspiring us today. And now we would like to capture this moment with a virtual group photo. So please turn on your cameras and give your best smile. One, two, three. All right. Again. One, two, three. Once again. One, two, three. All right. Thank you, everyone. And now we move on to a no less significant part of our agenda. We will now proceed with the signing of the One Dream, One Korea petition. To all participants, including our moderators, speakers, and all honored guests, are cordially invited to take part in this important act of support for Korean reunification. To do so, please access the following link that we will send through the comment section, and you will have 5 minutes to sign the petition. To all participants, including our moderators, speakers, and all honored guests, please access the following link that is on your screen right now, and you will have 5 minutes to sign the petition. I will explain in bahasa Indonesia. Ini bukan feedback form, jadi feedback form akan kami berikan setelah ini. Ini adalah petisi yang bisa teman-teman sign. Jadi diharapkan bisa segera scan yang ada di layar. Terima kasih. All right, thank you for participating in the campaign, everyone. And thank you to those who shared such thoughtful questions throughout the session. And now here we come to the moment we all have been waiting for. It is time to reveal the winners of the best questions for today's event. So congratulations to Devina Andreni Wongso, Valentin, and Nis. So for the winners, our team will be reaching out to you shortly with details on how to claim your prize. So please keep an eye on your WhatsApp for further details. Dear participants, before we wrap up, we kindly ask you to take a few minutes to fill out the feedback form because the e-certificate will only be sent to those who complete the feedback form. And this form will only be accessible during the Zoom meeting. And once the event ends, we will not be responding to any messages regarding this event. So you will have 10 minutes to complete the form. Please take a moment to complete everything now. Also, please promptly check your email after submitting the form. I will explain in bahasa Indonesia. Untuk partisipan, sebelum kita menyelesaikan webinar ini, harap mengisi feedback form dengan link yang ada di layar, karena e-sertifikat hanya akan dikirimkan setelah Anda mengisi feedback form tersebut, dan kami tidak menerima pertanyaan ataupun pesan apapun setelah kami menutup ruang Zoom ini. Thank you once again for being with us today, everyone. We truly appreciate your time and input. Once you have completed the feedback form, you may kindly leave the Zoom room. And as we conclude, let's continue to work together for peace, sustainability, and unity. See you at the next session, and may the Korean dream live on in all of us. I'm Salsa Bila, your master of ceremony, signing off. Stay safe and have a wonderful day, everyone. Goodbye for now. Untuk partisipan yang belum mengisi feedback form, diharapkan untuk segera mengisi feedback formnya, karena e-sertifikat hanya akan dikirimkan setelah Anda mengisi feedback form tersebut, dan kami tidak akan menerima pertanyaan atau pesan apapun setelah kami menutup ruang Zoom ini. Terima kasih.